Hey, this is Notser, and this is Untitled. This week I want to talk about Commanders. The discount is over, but we can talk about whether you liked it or didn't like the changes in 0.6.0. Also, I want to talk about aircraft carriers because, oh my god, it's so frustrating. I'll share my thoughts. I think they're reasonable frustration. Obviously, most people know this, but I just have to vent, okay? Just let me vent. And then finally, I want to talk about my setup, specifically my microphone. Hopefully it'll be improved soon. So, the Commander skills. Commander skills have been discounted since 0.6.0 came out. No longer is the discount in effect. Did you find skills that you enjoyed? For me, I was really surprised how much I liked Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush really aligns well with my goal in the game, which is to have fun. I don't like passive play. In fact, I would rather die than play out a 20-minute match where 3 people died. I cannot stand passive play. So Adrenaline Rush really aligns well with my playstyle. Take damage and be rewarded with more damage output. Perhaps I can kill him just that little bit quicker and get to a point where we are just rolling over the enemy. What skill is your Adrenaline Rush? Now, a skill that I think is extremely overrated, and it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't understand the infatuation with Superintendent. Now, Superintendent is a level 3. It used to be one of the only level 3s that you could possibly take. Right? Level 3 prior to this patch was 2 legitimate choices, if that. They've really thrown all that away. Level 3, I can't really find a bad level 3. It's that overcrowded. There are so many skills that I want to take, I just can't take them, obviously. And for Superintendent to remain so important is a little shocking to me. I could see if you don't want to invest in premium consumables, or perhaps you are a German and you have tons of skills, you've got to get the consumables to a state where, yes, and especially if the change goes through where they're going to extend the time the consumables are recharging, right? Remember, I've heard about this. If they extend it out, it's very rare that you get to the last charge. I just don't understand why Superintendent is so important to some community contributors when Vigilance is really good, basic firing training, basic survivability, torpedo armament expertise, demolition expert. That's a lot of skills that it's competing with, and I just think it was pushed out. I think consumables are just so prevalent in the sense that you gotta use premium. You have to use premium. It gives you an extra charge and a faster rearm. If it gave you one and not the other, then I could see improving the weak part. But it gives you an extra charge and it happens faster. So that's where I'm different from other people. I think Superintendent is extremely overrated from a pick standpoint. I would much rather have straight up Vigilance than rely on Superintendent in some cases to get me an extra aircraft up or something like that. I also want basic firing training for my small caliber gun. In fact, I feel like that might be the better play than the large caliber German guns. They just don't improve at all. It's fun to have 150 millimeters, but I can't improve the range, I can't improve the rate of fire. That's a lot that you just can't improve, right? So I just think it's just competing with too many good things. Having said that, I like Superintendent for certain builds. I just won't use it globally like I used to. Remember when Superintendent was the skill that you took at level 3 for everything? Destroyers, cruisers, battleships. It's not that anymore. It just isn't. It's too important that you make your DPS or torpedo protection or dot avoidance. I just think having that extra charge is great, but it doesn't impact most games. Most games are decided before you get to your final charge. That's just my feeling, especially with premium. But what do you think? I've really enjoyed the commander skills and making the content. It's great. I probably will talk about the aircraft carriers, but honestly, it just... And we'll segue into the aircraft carriers. I've been playing aircraft carriers. I'm trying to get my first win of the day. Yes, I know. It has been hell on earth for the Americans. It is so bad. So bad for the Americans. I can't believe this is the state that they're in. The Japanese, at least the Japanese feels like, okay, you've got your torpedoes, you get your dive bombs, and you can defend with your aircraft, your fighters, right? Okay. And that's a solid build, right? Yes, exactly. That's a solid build. For the Americans, you've got to decide, are you going to be anti-air, or are you going to be anti-ground, or ship? You can't do both. But you so want to do both. You're just so jealous of that Shokaku. And he has his fighters, and he has his torpedo bombs, and he has his dive bombs. But you over here, the American, you're just sitting there going, man. Plus, I was getting in so many tier 10 matches, and it's really bad being a tier 8 aircraft carrier going up against tier 10s, British cruisers, American battleships. Oh my, it is bad. There are very few targets that you could actually go after. But I think I'm getting better. I don't really have a good strategy for my Lexington. My Lexington is a strike right now. Why strike? For XP. And I felt like the XP strike was, let's try and use the torpedoes to take out a destroyer per cooldown. I think destroyers are that important, but maybe I'm wrong. And also, most of the targets that I can actually attack end up being just destroyers, or maybe a battleship. No, seriously, that's how bad it was with all the tier 10 stuff I was getting queued into. But I feel like the torpedoes, first set, goes against one of the objectives, try and torpedo them. One of the destroyers is just inevitably going to go too far, and I'll be able to get him. Or at least harass him enough that he'll pop his smoke and hide. And then, what I've tried to do, and I didn't really develop that much in the stream, is to use one dive bomber of the 3 to set a fire. Just set one fire, and force him to burn or use his damage control on that burn. Once he's done that, I'm going to come in with 2 dive bombers and relight those fires and hopefully do massive damage to him. But I just... The dive bomber RNG, I think I'm doing it right. There are definitely times where I will drop and it will be a miss. Very clearly it's a miss. But there are other times where I'm setting up a nice, clean, tight manual drop right center mass, and not a single bomb lands anywhere close to the enemy. Not a single bomb. And it's so infuriating because that is all the DPS I can do for a minute plus. That's it. It's not that case in my Shokaku. In my Shokaku, I do torpedoes, and I feel pretty good about them. And if I want to, I can do my dive bombers, and yeah, sure they'll miss, but the Shokaku has a little bit tighter, accurate drop. It's very hard for them to miss completely if you set it up as good as you think you can. But not for the Americans. The Americans, it's like, what are they good at? I don't know. It's really frustrating. I don't think of my builds wrong. You know, I'm going the typical health build. I go level 1. I take aircraft health points. I take faster torpedoes. I take faster torpedo rearm and air supremacy. I don't think I'm messing it up. I'll even take demolition expert just to get a little bit more until I can get up to advanced firing training, all that stuff. For my modules, I avoid the fighter, obviously, when I'm going strike, and it's a real chore. It doesn't help that over 70 or 80% of my aircraft carrier games, I am 2 tiers lower than the top tier. That's insurmountable. It is the most frustrating experience to know that I just can't drop on them. I just can't drop on them. I mean, It's just the way it works out, right? I'm trying to get to tier 10 on everything. I don't care that's an aircraft carrier. If it's a good aircraft carrier game, it's a good aircraft carrier. And on top of that, I like to sort of reposition my camera on the screen itself. But I can't do that. I can't right-click and focus that area on the screen. I have to go to the minimap and click, right? That makes sense. Well, you can use your middle mouse and move around. That's all floaty and crap. It's not as precise as I want it to be. I can't set up hotkeys to certain sectors. Maybe it would be really cool if I could set a friendly ship as a hotkey so I could double tap and go directly overhead that ship. That would be pretty cool. I'm just trying to get over to different sections of the map. It's just so difficult compared to something like StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2, you can queue up your attack. You can obviously hotkey as much as you want. It's much easier to manipulate things. You don't accidentally drag out the waypoint. I wish Wargaming would give me a setting where I could just disable that. I just want to disable the ability for you to re-interact with the waypoint once you've set it. It makes no sense to me. It's just so awkward. And I had an instance, and I'm not lying to you, the stream saw this. I was on, what's that map? Estuary. I was on Estuary, and I was setting up attack. The enemy Shokaku had the aircraft ready to go, the fighters to deny me, right? And I was ready to juke out of the way. I was expecting him to use his manual fighter spread and the animation to play, and then me to split. No animation. No animation at all. Absolutely no tell that that was what he was doing, other than he was just having this little fighter just flying over the area. Just infuriating. It is equivalent to a siege tank in StarCraft 2 not playing the animation when it went into siege mode. That's a pretty critical amount of information. It's telling me if I can move forward or I should stay back. That is a huge issue, and I can't imagine that's only happened to me. There have been so many weird, quirky animations with the aircraft carrier. I just clear it all out. Make it as clean as possible. Then we can work to add things to it. But that's the aircraft carrier for me. Am I crazy? Even aircraft carrier people, the UI sucks. The US line is terribly weak. The Japanese are so much better. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm not crazy, right? Even veteran aircraft carrier captains, you think, oh, just play the Japanese at high tier. That's all I play. Okay, well, if that's the case, I'm just going to have to slog through it. So, we've talked about aircraft carriers, we've talked about commanders. I want to talk about my microphone. Now, my microphone is very, very sensitive. It picks up everything. It picks up any saliva I have, any clicks I'm doing, any breathing that I might have. It picks up everything. TV, air condition, fan, computer. It picks up everything. It's a condenser microphone. It's primarily designed to sit in a soundproof room with nothing else than the audio being created, and it's good for instruments and all that stuff. So what I'm looking to get, and it should be here today, is a dynamic microphone for podcasts. This dynamic microphone is supposed to center the audio around a specific point, and outside of that specific point, everything else is pretty much muted. It's just not in the direction that it's being targeted at or aimed at. And I'm hoping that this will improve my stream. I think my stream is okay. It can be better though, and this is part of it. You can hear my clicking, you can hear my keyboard, you can hear everything in the background. I don't want that. I want it to be more focused, just on me, commentating, talking about what I'm thinking about doing, what I am doing. And that sort of goes hand in hand with also, I don't want to come off as fake. I haven't been able to do a lot of live commentary to YouTube, partly because it's really hard to maintain good audio qualities when I'm clicking on the keyboard or using the mouse. I don't like that. It's not acceptable in my content. So that's a full stop. It really is a full stop. Some people, they hate it. They hate the live commentary. Some people love it. Some people think, this is real. I can feel the frustration. Oh, I feel the frustration. It's very real to me. And that's my hope, that the dynamic will allow me to feel more comfortable using my keyboard, using my mouse, and commenting on the game in real time. Sometimes I'll get off topic, and what I would like to do for the stream is focus the questions more for when I'm outside the game or at the end of the match with the score screen. That's really where I want questions to be focused. I understand if you just come in and you're like, oh, what's Notser do? That, no problem with that, but the deep question that has nothing to do with the game, nothing to do with the build, if you ask me a question about the build, I can easily answer that question while I'm playing the game. And that might actually be good content for YouTube if I were to take that and share it on YouTube. But if you ask me, what's the best tier 3, and I'm in a tier 10 match, it's a really random question. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's a really random question when I'm in combat or about to enter combat. And some people, they don't like these random questions that are asked to me. It detracts from the content. I do enjoy talking about movies or computers or YouTube or Twitch or video games. I'm all about that. But unless the game is completely boring or we're just dragging it out to get to the next game, we really need to try, well, I'm going to try to focus answering those questions at the end of the game or in between games. And I think people will appreciate that. I do want to make sure that I share my emotion a little bit more. I'm not going to ever call out a person. That's just not me. I will talk about why I disagree with this ship and their choices, and I'll frame it from that point of view. I honestly really avoid even calling out the name of my opponents, even though you can clearly see on my screen for all the alternative information. I just don't like that. I think that you shouldn't tear people down, you should bring people up. That's been my motto. And I'm sorry if you don't find enjoyment out of that. Please enjoy my failures. Please enjoy my frustration. Don't enjoy belittling other people in the game. That's not a healthy way to live your life. It just isn't. And it's rampant in so many online games. I remember playing Medal of Honor Allied Assault, and I would never do that. I was just happy that I could kill people. Now, I would be frustrated with spawn camping, but that frustration was 10, 15 seconds, if that. People today, they carry it on like it's the end of the world as we know it, and it's just not. I hope this was enjoyable. Commander skills, I think they're great. I think they turned out great. Far better than I thought they were going to be. The aircraft carrier games, we got to be better. I appreciate any feedback or any support you guys can give me. Information, I really appreciate it. And for the microphone, this should make the streaming experience better for people, I think, when I get this. And for this content, you probably shouldn't notice. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.